we are moving on with our proportions and percents. Yesterday we did is and of, and it got a little complicated knowing what an of and an is when there's word problems involved. So there's an easier way to do it when there's a word problem involved. Your learning target today, you can use proportions to find missing parts, wholes, and percents. Anytime there is a word problem and you see a percent, I would use the part to whole proportion template, meaning part is to whole as percent is to 100. I would use this with any word problem. So any word problem you see, I would use this template. And if it's not a word problem and you see the is and the of in percent, then use is and of. But sometimes if you don't have the is and the of, then you do the part to whole as percent is to 100, which is equivalent. It really is saying part is to whole as part is to whole. Because a percent is part of your whole 100, isn't it? Percent is part of the 100. So part of something is to all of it, as a percentage is to all of the percentage, which is 100. So it's just like what we've been doing. Okay. So let's say that we got 73% on our most recent exam that had 45 questions. How many questions did we get right? So I see a percent. So a percent tells me right away that I'm going to do this. And then I see that it's a word problem. I don't see the vocab words is and of. Do you see them? So that tells me, okay, I need part to whole. Part is to whole as percent is to 100. So I just outline the numbers I have. 73%, 45 questions. How many did I get right? So the 73, of course, goes where the percent is. And then I just ask myself if the next number is a part or a whole. So my most recent exam had 45 questions. Is that all of the exam or part of the exam? All. It's the whole. It's the whole exam. So that would go on the bottom, and my part is on top. And then I do the cross product. 100x equals 45 times 73 is 3285. Divided 32.85. Now all of these numbers, again, I just come up with randomly, so most of my numbers never make sense. It's hard to come up with whole numbers. But the process is what we care about. We care that we know how to identify a part and how to identify a whole. Again, it's always part is to whole as percent is to 100. You got 33 right on an exam and you received a score of 77%. How many questions were on the test? So again, I see I have a percent, so I can create my template with 100 on the bottom right. I don't see the is and of, so it's a part to whole. Part is to whole as percent is to 100. 77 is my percent. I can go ahead and fill that in easy. And then the next thing is identifying, is this number the part or is this number the whole? I got 33 right. Did I get part of the test right or all of the test right? I got part because I only got 77%. So I didn't get the whole test right. I got part of the test right. I'm looking for my whole. 77x equals 3,300. X is 3,300 divided by 77 is 42.9 rounded. There are 42.9 questions on this test. Interesting. Do you see the process though? I see a word problem, I see a percent. So I know it's going to be a part to whole. Okay. Next one, 125 students decide to go on a field trip. This was 35% of the school student body. How many are at the school? Well, I see the percent, so go ahead and put the 100 on the bottom right, and then fill in what you can. I see the number 125 and 35%. So the 35, I always fill in the percent pretty much right away because that's easy. And then it's the identify what this number is. Is 125, did all of the students go or part of the students go? Part. So that would go on the top. I'm looking for the whole. 35x equals 12,500. 12,500 divided by 35 is 357.1 rounded. That means there are approximately 357.1 students at that school. Huh?
Wait, is it okay if we just put 357?
Sure, it's a process again. I mean, these numbers don't make sense. I think this one might make sense. I don't know. So there's two ways to handle this next question. There's two different ways you can handle it. 48 states have their own flag. What percent of states do not have their own flag? So really, I'm only given one number. But I do see the word percent, so that tells me I should do this. And then I don't really have the is and of, so I'm just going to use the word problem. Part is to whole as percent is to 100. So 48, what's that? Part or the whole? Part. And what's the whole? 50. Now, we can go ahead and solve it this way, except we'll have to do one more step because I want to know how many do not have. This is who does have. So I want to find who doesn't then. So there would be one more step. So this would be 50x equals 4,800. I think it's 96. So 96% have their own flag. Then who does not? 4%. Who doesn't is 4%. Another way you could do it, if you wanted to create the proportion, if 48 have their own flag, then 2 do not have their own flag out of the 50. And we need to know that percentage. Both strategies will do you just fine. I personally would have done this strategy, but most kids start here because they see the 48 and they think they should use the 48. So that's where most kids start from.